Welcome once again, everyone. This is Alpha Research Plus Consult, and we are here for the SPSS free taster session episode 2. We held the first episode last week, on Sunday last week, and we want to hold episode 2 tonight. And we want to welcome you, every single person. Thank you for joining tonight. Thank you for deciding to spend your time with us tonight. We do believe that it's going to be an interesting ride. All right, so we are still waiting a bit more for people to join in. Please do well to share the link, share the Zoom meeting link, so that your colleagues, your friends, people that need to be here will join as soon as possible. We'll be starting in the next 2-3 minutes. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, welcome once again, everyone. Thank you for joining tonight's meeting. This is the SPSS free tester session episode, and we'll get started in the next 5 minutes. I just want to briefly introduce who we are in the next 3 to 5 minutes, and then the session will be underway. All right, so you're welcome. This is Alpha Research Plus Consult, and we're a registered company with the CAC in Nigeria. If you've been wondering who we are a research training and consulting company, and we are dedicated to strengthening research capacity and we support evidence-based decision making among individuals, institutions, organizations, and development practitioners. And this is our YouTube channel, Alpha Research Plus Consults. You can do it to, subscribe and consume the content that we have available and those that we would post as time goes on. So since last year, we have been running free tester sessions every month, and we have run quite a couple of tester sessions on SPSS. This was the first one, then the second one, and the third one. That was just the one we just ran last week. And then we have also had a free tester on getting published in a high impact journal in 3 months. We have also had a free tester session on research methods 001, and we looked at sampling methods. We have also looked at the art and science of qualitative research craftsmanship. That's free tester. We have also had our researchers fireside chat. The first episode and the second episode. The first episode looked at grant and scholarship, and then the second one looked at scholarship again, studying abroad on scholarships. We had conversations with real scholarship winners, and it has been insightful. We have also had a free tester on referencing manager and on Canva. This Canva happened, that was May, yeah, the free tester on May, or in May rather. We have also had a free tester on the use of artificial intelligence in research and practice. So we run quite a number of free tester sessions. Every month, we try to bring you trainings that will increase your capacity and your skill set as a researcher. So you do well to keep your eyes open, on our WhatsApp community. You'll be notified whenever we have a training for you. All right, aside the free tester sessions, we've also run some master classes for more enhanced or more training, master class training, yeah, on different softwares. We have looked at SPSS training, that's the master class, a 4-week training course that runs through 8 contacts, Fridays and Saturdays. We have had the first cohort, the second cohort, the third cohort, and it has been really impactful hearing from our participants. We have also had the researchers toolkit, the master classes, which we teach Canva, Excel, and Word for researchers. So we tailor it to the researcher and how it's going to help us automate our workflow and have beautiful presentation slides. So we have done the first cohort of that, the second and the third cohort of that. And at Alpha Research Plus Consult, we offer some services. We offer one-on-one consultation, SPSS masterclasses, GIS training, qualitative methodology, AI prompting, manuscript writing, research tools, data analysis for individuals and for institutions. We offer proposal support, project, basically anything research. We are here for you, or even if you want us to come train you or your department as a group or a group group physical trainings, we can also do that. So if you need any of these services, you can do it to reach out to the admin through the number on your screen. All right. So we'll just go directly into the training. We love to give you some words that would inspire you. So let me just take one. Robin Sharma said that small daily improvements over time lead to stunning results. So you can ponder on this even as we go into the training tonight. Small daily improvements. So what makes us masters at things? They don't just come in one day. It's about daily improvements, small daily, improvements, atomic habits, get us going until we become a master at what we are doing. All right, our facilitator for tonight is none other than Dr. Ogon Nwankwo, and he's an internationally trained public health expert and a mixed methods researcher with over a decade of operational excellence across academia, clinical medicine, epidemiology, and implementation research project design and execution. He's an alumnus of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and the London School of Economics with advanced training from the University of Oxford, Imperial College London, the University of Basel, and the European Educational Program in Epidemiology, among others. He is also a fellow of the West African College of Physicians in Community Medicine, and as a seasoned consultant, he has advised numerous local and international governmental bodies, non-governmental organizations, and multilateral agencies. As a master trainer in quantitative and qualitative research methodologies and data analysis tools, he has a proven track record of building capacity among undergraduates and postgraduate students, health workforces, health managers, and senior policymakers. And so it is with joy that we make welcome our facilitator for tonight, Dr. Ogonna Nwankwo. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us. The floor is yours.
Hello, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, sir, we can hear you,
Yes, we
sir.
can hear you.
We can hear you.
Thank you very much for this kind introduction. I just want to encourage you, if you know anybody that is interested in learning how to analyze their data on their own, if you can encourage them to join in. Okay, but we're going to start at this point, and please do permit me to share my slide. Okay, so we're all welcome to this SPSS free taster session 2. This is a continuation of where we started last week, but I think we would just go over everything again. So our module for SPSS training has module 1 running down to more than module 6, 7. So the very first module where we started was around introduction to the variable view, the data for SPSS view, and how to do configuration. And then the module 2 goes into data cleaning and manipulations of your data, which essentially looks around things around data cleaning and data preparation for the analysis, where you are now doing the transforming and computing your variables, recoding variables, making data remake, which includes whether you are splitting your file or filtering your file. So last week we dealt with the module 1, but today we're going to add on to where we stopped the last time, as well as make it quite intuitive. So module 2 is around how to do your descriptive biostats, where we're looking at descriptive statistics, frequencies, how to use functions like descriptives and explore, and visualization. while Module 4 looks at bivariate analysis. Module 5 is around using more of numeric hypothesis testing, like things like using independent t-tests, paired sample t-tests, the one-way ANOVA, the non-parametric tests like things like Proskauer-Wallis test and the others. Then, of course, the intermediate to advanced modules for the SPSS training include things like correlation and introductory linear modeling, advanced epidemiological modeling, including things like logistic regression, and then, of course, survival analysis and time to event data, advanced regression methods for randomized control trials, as well as for cluster randomized control trials and analyzing complex survey designs and cluster trials. So having said this, I know it's quite a bit or a chunk to say the least, but I think it's one step at a time. The main thing is to become familiar with the software and then you can advance. Please, I also need to make this disclaimer. This is not exactly a statistics class. This class is meant to teach you how to be able to use a software to analyze your data. However, at times we may have to provide some statistical background to what informs the choice of tools or things you use. So, like as I said, last week when we carried it out, we just did an introduction to coding of questionnaire, demonstration of variable definition in questionnaire, and introduction to the SPSS interface. So, but for today, we'll be going forward, although we would have an overview of what we did the last time, but we'll now delve more into data cleaning and manipulation, how to do some of the transforming and computing variables and recoding your variables as a step on. Okay, so like as I said, our plan for this session 2, first of all, is to review part of what we've done in session 1, especially looking at things like coding of data sets and questionnaires and importing of data sets. And then we're now going to data cleaning and manipulation. So my first question to everybody here is, why do you think we code? Why do you think we code our data sets and questionnaires? Can anybody hazard a guess? Hello? Okay, so the real reason why we really code our questionnaires is because the language computers understand better is the language of numbers. So it's easier for a computer to understand that one means a characteristics versus writing the characteristics, and then it avoids the issue because each characteristics you write and there's a switch in it, it usually confuses or counts it as a different thing. So that's why we code our data sets and questionnaires. So now for SPSS variable, there are 3 major key pillars that most times it is what you work on. I'm going to demonstrate. So one is what is called a variable name, and the other is a variable label, and the other is a value label. So the variable name is the short form name that SPSS uses in recognizing that particular variable. What we mean by a variable is something of interest. For instance, in your participants, you want to know how old each participant is. That is a variable of interest. What is their sex? That's another example. How tall, their height. That is a variable of interest, okay? So usually, you just, when you open your SPSS, so I think, let me share my SPSS just to demonstrate. Okay, I believe you can see my screen now, right? So on the SPSS page, this is the SPSS page. The last time we demonstrated how to open it is just by clicking on the icon button down among the softwares you have. There's usually the icon that shows SPSS. So you click on it and it will open it. So now, when you open it, the SPSS usually have three major views. One is the variable view. Okay, this is it. The other one is the data view. The data view is where you now directly impute the characteristics of that particular variable of interest. That's the observation made for each participant. So let me just click on variable view just to demonstrate. So the variable view is where you are telling SPSS the different characteristics that you want it to know about that particular variable. So let's, for instance, say we want to do something around age, right? So the name, if it is something like maternal age, okay? So now I'm going to use a short form to do that. So I can use math. Now, SPSS does not accept you leaving space and say age. Once you do that and try to move away, it will tell you the variable name contains an illegal character. So usually you will put math and then maybe put underscore age or dot age, and then it will accept it. Usually it should not be very, very long. It's just a short form. Then usually we talked about type, and I explained to us that the two major ones we usually use is numeric and string. Now, string is usually for test. What do we mean by test? When people have tried to explain things for you. How is the economic situation of the country? I think the economic situation of the country is, things like is not too good. So that's words. So you use string. But if it is numbers or something that looks like categories, so when we mean categories, of course, when I get back to the slides, I'm going to explain further. There are different types of categories, but usually those are the ones that you usually ordinarily use, okay? Now, if you see this type, numeric, right? What you find out by this numeric, what you find out by this numeric that I've mentioned is that that is the one that tells it number. So the other bits that you need to know, I'm talking about the three major pillars that you really, really need to always take care of when you are filling the variable. The label. So here you now write that name that you've written in short form into full. So here I type maternal age. It accepts space, it accepts you to do anything. Then the next one is what we call values. So now, if it is a categorical variable, under values, you can now group things. So let's say, then the other bit is, of course, measure, which is a scale of measurement. And in this case, it is maternal age, which is numbers. Okay, so it's a scale. Okay. So for this particular one, you would not exactly fill any value. So now, let's say you want to do something on sex, okay? Then, of course, you drop your decimal since maternal age is a discrete number. Same with sex. So sex is a category. Remember, you are, let's say you are male or female. So now when you go to the column that says value, that's the other pillar, right? You click on it, it will bring out two options, two boxes, value and label. So now if you have coded already to say, for me, male will be 1, so my label, I'll put it male, and I click add. Then my value 2 will be female, okay? I put it there, I click on it, and I click OK. Since this is a categorical variable, now the next question is, what type of measure of scale is it? Is it nominal or is it ordinal? And in this case, because it has an identity but there's no ranking, we will consider it nominal. Please, the last session we had, we really delved into explaining the things around this measure of scales. And you can go on our YouTube channel to watch it, just to get a deeper understanding. I would request the admin to put on the chat box the link for the YouTube channel as well for everyone, in case you want to do that. Okay. So now in your data view, after you finish creating each of these variable, the characteristics of each variable, when you go to your data view, you immediately see that each column that comes represents one of those variables you have filled. So for instance, if you had interviewed the first person and the person says, my age is 60 years, so here it is on this other one, this data view, that you can now say the age is 60. If the person says is a female, so you now put it as 2, okay? Female. Okay. All right. So just to give a little bit of context, because I had uses, so I think rather than maternal age, I will just change this to respondent's age. So respondents, okay? So that it can allow us to do whichever sex it is. So maybe you now go to the next person, the person is 30 years and is a male, you can click on male, right? Now, with this thing I've done now, right? If you want to see the codes underlining this, you just click on this icon button that has 1 and A, which is value and label. Once I click on it, you can see it has changed it back to the numbers, the code, okay? Okay, so now what I'm going to show us next is I'm going to go back and pull out a questionnaire just to demonstrate. Just to demonstrate what I've just talked about, okay? So, just a second.
what I had.
Hello? Hello? Okay, so this is a questionnaire. This is a copy of a questionnaire that I downloaded is from Pratel, a textbook. Okay, so now this questionnaire is looking at behavior, the psychological behavior of people, and there are a series of questions in it. So you can see there's sex, and you can see male, female, tick whichever applies. So this is just a categorical question that you select one. There's age, this is numeric, this is categorical. What is your marital status? This is, of course, again, categorical data. What is the highest level of education that you have completed? This is an example of what we mean by ordinal scale of measurement of a questionnaire, because I would expect that someone that has gone to secondary school has a higher level of education than someone in primary school. But when you talk of something like SES, there is no order. So this one is nominal. It is a nominal scale, but it's still categorical. Why this is categorical, but there's some order or ranking, and so this is now known as ordinal. So the way we use in recognizing is NOI, as in black, N for nominal. It has identity but no ranking. O for ordinal, it has identity and it has ranking. And then I is interval, which is now quantitative data that has no absolute zero. For instance, something like, let's say, IQ. Zero, there's nothing like zero IQ. That one person's IQ is stated not to be as high as the other person. There's a place you go, that IQ can vary, depending on what system was using scoring. But when you go to ratio, which is another form of numeric data, that means that data has absolute zero. There is a starting point that is zero, something like weight. And across all scale, it is the same. Then the other bit I wanted to demonstrate here is, of course, okay. So if you look at this questionnaire, we're not delving into the questionnaire now, but I just wanted to show us what it looks like. One thing you can find out from this is that you can be able to code your questionnaire and form what is known as a code book. So I'm going to demonstrate what the code book to this looks like. Like now, if you look at SES, there's male, there's female, okay? So one person should tick 1, right? And you can assign a number, say male 1, female 2, Now, when I was talking of string variable, number 6 here is an example of a string variable. You can see what are the major sources of stress in your life. So one person can say home, another person can say family, another person can say school, another person can say the economy. So different people can say different things, It's not like it's coded already, okay? So let me now share what the code book that underlies this, what it looks like, okay?
no sound.
No, just give, sorry. I'm trying to pull up the file that shows. Okay, I don't know if you can see my screen now.
No? Okay, yes. Can see your screen now.
Okay, but no, this is the same as that one. Sorry, just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, this is fine. So are you there? Hello?
See your screen now. Can see your
Yes.
screen.
Okay,
we
so
can.
you can see. Okay, so you can see this is another questionnaire. This is a sample. You can see sex, male, female, age is there. What is your marital status? Okay. Just that beginning part with those questions. Okay. Now, let's go to what the code book will look like. You can see it will tell you full variable name, what you want the SPSS variable name to represent, and then the coding instruction. So you can see sex. You can see the SPSS variable name will be sex, and this is my coding instruction. One will be males, two will be females. Then you can see age. Okay, this is a full variable name. Remember when I talked of the variable label, but here is the short form. So look at highest level of education. This is a full name, but look at what they're using as their shortcut, EDUC. Okay, but you can see they've coded it. One will mean primary, two some secondary, just like that. Okay, so that's how it goes. So usually you're supposed to have something like this, and then even go through in being able to know exactly how to the ones you need to do reverse coding, especially if you have negatively worded question. Because when you have a negatively worded question, the responses will mean that people that strongly disagree with should have higher score than people that agree. So for instance, if I was trying to assess for knowledge about prevention of COVID, and I say a doctor should not wear mask. So rank from strongly disagree to agree, whether you agree to the statement. If anybody agrees to that statement, of course, the statement is wrong. That means the person does not know it. So you expect the person to have a lower score compared to the person that strongly disagrees. So that is usually the difference. So I'm going to share back the slides again. Let's go back to the slides and continue. Okay. Okay, so now I've talked of coding binary variables. I think I've described this. So binary variables are variables that there are only two options. Like for instance, where we saw sets. Do you take alcohol? Yes or no? There's no in between. Do you currently use artificial intelligence at work? Yes or no? So usually we encourage that when you are coding for such, code it in such a way that 0 means no or absence, while 1 means yes. The reason is because when you want to run more sophisticated analysis, like you're doing logistic regression or all of that, it usually uses 1 as the factor it counts. So that helps to reduce your challenges. We always encourage you when you are conceptualizing your work, if you are not very, very vast in biostatistics or all of that, you can consult with a biostatistician. For instance, you can consult our teams on your work, even when you've done your coding while you are collecting your data. for them to give you some expert opinion so that you don't have to do much great work at the end of the day. Okay, so now, so other forms of categorical data is the nominal one I just mentioned. So this is a good example. There is no ranking. What is the source of your water? Piped? Is it borehole? Is it surface water? You can find out that it's just different forms, right? I'm not talking of in terms of quality of the water that it produces, but it's more like an identity, okay? Then there's the ordinal, like I've mentioned before. Education, where you expect that as somebody's ranking goes up, they should have higher education level. Okay, now, I need to say this because this is very, very important. There's what is called a multiple response challenge. There are questions that we usually have when we implement our questionnaire that means that the respondent has to select multiple responses. Something that like the person can choose more than one option. So that's what is called multiple response. So an example of this is what items do you have in your house? I've written TV, fridge, iPhone, smartphone, fan, generator. You can see there are multiple items and somebody can have all of them. Somebody may not have any. Somebody may have one. Somebody may have two. There are different ways to analyze those different data. So usually what we do is to, instead of typing, like now for some people, what they will do is that maybe the code generator this, so they will now put 1, 2, 3, 4. It's usually difficult to analyze. It just messes everything up. So the best way we usually do is to consider each item as a variable of its own and then use 1 and 0 in coding it. The reason why we use that is that when we carry out what we call as a multiple response analysis, we would now be able to analyze that. So for example, if you wanted to look at symptoms that people have experienced, right? So you had fever, you had cough, you had rash. So you can make each one a column on its own so that eventually you can respond to no or yes on it. Okay. So now the other bit is how do you deal with missing data codes or handling non-response and skip logic? So usually what we do is to use a standardized number that is not within your real data range, something that is not plausible that anybody can have in your numbers. So for instance, a lot of times people use 88 or 888 in terms of not applicable or skipped. So for instance, if you have a pregnancy question that the males have skipped, you can use that. Or you can use 99 or 999 if they refuse to answer or is missing. Okay. Now, usually you should go ahead in defining this explicitly in the missing column of variable view. Okay. Then, of course, as you are ending, you should also do a summary checklist. Before your data entry begins, ensure that you've added your serial number. Why it's always good to have a serial identification number is so that as you enter your questionnaire, you can always revert back in case when you start doing your data cleaning and data preparation, you notice some numbers that are too high or doesn't make sense and you want to revisit. Then, of course, all continuous variables, you can collect them as exact numbers, not dividing them into brackets. I mean, just a few days back, I had some questions from some group of people. They had coded age group. They had collected data age as age group. as against collecting the raw data. So we always encourage collect the raw numbers. You can always convert easily to categorical as against converting categorical to continuous. Then, as much as possible, avoid text string columns, because Lagos, LOAGOS, is different from LOGS. Okay? Then every every categorical variable usually should have its numeric code that you map it out in the value labels, like I demonstrated earlier. Okay. So having said this, I'm going to give us a two or 3 minutes health break. Let everybody stretch themselves, and then we enter straight into SPSS, as in we would get into running the data. And within this period also, we are going to be sharing the data both on this group page as well as on the WhatsApp group, so that, I mean, you people can join and open your systems and follow through. Okay, thank you. Admin, over.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the session so far. It's been quite insightful. All right, I wanted to share my screen, but I'm having a bit of network issues over here. So while we are on the break, I'd just love to reiterate what we said earlier. We at Alpha Research Plus Consult, we offer some services that you may need at one point or the other. So we are a research-based consult, and we do all things research. Peradventure, you need support with your proposal writing, with any stage of your research work, from conceptualization to data analysis, report writing, and all of that. You can always do it to reach out to consult, and we would hold your hands through the process. We'll work with you at whatever level. We offer one-on-one consultations. We offer trainings, both group trainings and online trainings. We also have master classes for several courses. All right. So you can do it to chat up the admin on the WhatsApp group that you are on. Once you get across to the admin, we would take it up from there. And also we'll be having the researchers toolkits cohort 4 commencing this week. That'll be on Thursday. It's a 4-week course, that will take us through Canva, MS Word, Excel, and MS Excel and MS Word, right? So these 3 tools, we'll be learning how to automate them for research purposes, so that we don't spend time on manual work. Right, research is already cumbersome and hectic. We don't want to add more work to what we are already doing. So we'll be trained on Excel, how to use Excel, Excel automation for researchers, MS Word automation for researchers, and then, of course, Canva for designing our presentation slides. Okay. All right. So let me get the document so that it can be shared. Okay, it's already there. Please kindly check the chat room, and you find the documents so that you can walk along. Okay. All right. So we have upcoming courses. Thank you so much for sharing your screen, sir. We have upcoming courses. We have a 4-week SPSS training program, and it's going to, like we have heard, this is it's a 8-module course, and so the 4 weeks we have 2 classes per week on Fridays and on Saturdays to continue into or delve deeper into the SPSS. And at the end of the 4 weeks, 8 contacts, we would have become, measurably better and on the way to becoming experts, on data analysis. So it's going to commence this Friday, Friday the 10th of July, and it's going to hold on Fridays and on Saturdays for the next 4 weeks. And also the Researchers Toolkit, like I've mentioned earlier, is also commencing this Thursday. That one holds once a week, every Thursday for the next 4 weeks. All right, so I'll be handing over to Dr. Ogonna to continue the session. So I'll be posting the Google form. If you are interested in any of these trainings, just let us know through that form. Just a quick form within 30 seconds. You filled it and you are back to this training, because we don't want you to miss any of this, this impactful session tonight. So it's just a quick form. Within 30 seconds, you have indicated your interest, and you can return back to the training. So I'll just send the Google form link just for you to indicate your interest for any of these upcoming trainings. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Handing over back to Dr. Ogonna. Thank you, sir.
Okay, please, I don't know if you've been able to download the file and open your SPSS. So maybe I'll give another 3 minutes for everyone to just open their files, and then I think we will start. Okay, so the 3 minutes starts. Okay, 2 minutes actually. So I'll give 2 minutes and then I will start. I believe the files for you to download is already available, and we'll just get on with it. Okay, so now to import your data. So for this particular training, we are going to use an already filled SPSS data file that was saved as an SAV, the one I shared. It comes in the SAV format. But I must say that in the master class, we'll also demonstrate how you can usually enter the data into Excel and import it, okay? So to import your file, you click on File. When you click on File, it gives you these drop-down menus. Then you click on Import data. Open data. When you use import data is when you want to import from formats like Excel, CS, that's comma separated variable data, that's CSV, and other 5 formats like Stata and all. But in this case, we are going to just open our data since we already is already a data set that was saved in SPSS. So we click on it. Okay, survey SAV, you click open. Okay, so you can see that questionnaire I had shared earlier. If you look this way, you can see the different numbers, right? I mean, this is already a very, very clean data, right? So the process in which it was cleaned is what usually we also demonstrate, because as we all know, a lot of times when we have our data sets, they are usually not clean. There's a lot of work that you have to do in terms of doing data preparation. But what I'm going to demonstrate is what we call recoding, okay? So I'm going to use this data set to demonstrate to us one, how to recode, and how to recode your data. So let's say age. We can see age here, the variable age. If you go to the data view, let's go to the, variable view. You can see age, none. You go to missing, they didn't put anything missing. So now I want to recode this age, but maybe also I also want to check, I hope there is no number that is outrageous, here. For instance, maybe a small child that the number is here. So what I can do is click on Analyze, go to Descriptive Frequencies. That's click on Analyze, okay, Analyze, go to Descriptives, and it will show me some options. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3 frequencies, and then there's this sign that looks like the mu sign, which is usually for the population mean and the standard deviation, and that is descriptive. So a lot of times we use the frequencies for categorical data, and we can use the descriptives for the numeric data. But we can also use the frequency just to do some basic things. So let me just use the frequency just to check this, right? What I just want to find out from this age is I want to find out the highest number and the lowest number. So I click on age. Age was on the left box. I click on it, age. I click on the arrow to move it into the variables. you can see it says display frequency tables. When I do that, it will show me all the numbers of age as listed and the number of time frequency it occurs. I will demonstrate by leaving it now and remove it so that you can see the difference. Then I click on statistics. Because I just want to find the minimum and maximum, I go to dispersion and I click minimum and maximum, right? But actually, I can as well click my mean, median, mode, and well, since I'm just doing for data cleaning, I just leave it at this and click OK. Now, SPSS will open another window. You know, I mentioned the other two windows it has, the data view and the variable view. This now is what is called the output view, where it creates, this thing that is written here is what is called syntax, which is the command that SPSS uses in carrying out this analysis. Now, the other tools for analysis, something like Stata, okay? So, but this one is just for SPSS is more of a click, but there's a syntax part. Syntax is something like a command, okay? So now you can see, show me that N valid 439 observations or respondents that were viewed. None is missing. The mean age is 37.44. The median age is 36. And the mode is 21. The minimum age is 18. The maximum age is 82. So I'm happy. But what if I had seen 90 or something? Then I will have to sort to find out where the problem lies and try to change that. We'll demonstrate that more in details in the master class, because this is just to give us a good idea around, because this data is very, very clean. So we'll use a data that is not clean to really demonstrate, okay? Because what I wanted to teach us is really the skill set of being able to recode. So you can see, if you look at the frequency table, this is what is called a frequency table. This is what is called the frequency table. Okay. So when you look at the cumulative percentage, you will find out that the 50th percentage is somewhere between 30, 35 and 36. So let's say we want to divide this data into 3 age groups, right? We can see where you have 33.9 is somewhere around 29. So we can say an age group that is like 30 and below. And then when you add another 33 to see, that's around 66.5, will be something like let's say 45, okay? And then 45 and above. So I want to now create a variable. Sorry, I hope you saw my result output. Did you?
No.
So it was only on this first page, right?
Yes.
Sorry, just a minute. Okay, so this is what I mean by the output variable, right? So you can see this is the code which SPSS uses in answering. This is the table I was talking about that has given me the mean, median, mode, the minimum, and the maximum. This is the frequency table for age. And you can see if you look at the cumulative percent, 33% is somewhere around almost 30 years. Actually, well, we can just say 35 is around 30. And then 45 is around where you have 70.8. Then the rest now is beyond that, okay? Okay, so now, I think okay. So how do I do the recode? Simple, straight. You click on data, you go down to you click on transform, you go down to, you will see two options. One says recode into same variables, the other one says recode into different variables. So you click on the one that says recode into different variables. Please, I need to say this. When you have your raw data, it is good always to save the original raw file somewhere else, maybe in your email, and don't touch it. And then have a second one that you are playing with that you can always modify or change things so that you can always have a backup. So I click on the one that I want to recode, which is age. I click on the arrow to move it into where it says in numeric variable to output variable. Then I will go to name. Remember, like I told you, SPSS, the way it sees name is that it should be a short form. So I just type age underscore group. And here, the label, I say age group. And then I click on change. And immediately you can see the original age, the arrow now points to, it is being changed to age group. Then you will see this box, this highlighted box when you hover around it that says old and new values. You click on it, and then it will bring you a dialog box. But the title says recode into different variables, old and new values. This is now where you are telling SPSS, this is my old value in age. This is what I now want it to be in my new value in age group. Okay. Now, there are two different things. We've talked about categorical data and we've talked about numeric data. So for the numeric data, because it is a numeric data that has numbers, what we can do is to expressly click on range and put in the categories of where we think the age group should be. So like now, we have said 18 to 30 years, that we want them to now be, the value should be age group 1. So you click the value and then you click add. That's one way of doing this. Another way I could have done it, since 18 to 30 is the lowest of the age category, I can click on this option that says range lowest true value. Okay, so what that means is from this value that I'm putting down, it should consider it as the lowest. So in that case, I would only put 30. And then in the new value, I'll put 1, and then I'll click add. Okay. Then the next one is the one that is 31 to 45. So I put on top 31 through to 45, and I come to my values and I tell it is 2, and I click on add. Then the last bit is the one that we are saying from 46 and above. Okay, so there are two ways you can do it. Okay, either you can click on this range value to highest, which means what you are telling it is from 46 up. Any other figure, add it as make it a different value of 3. Another option is that if your data is clean and you are sure that all your data are captured, is to click on all other values, make them 3, but you need to be careful about using that option. Or if you know what the lowest, from 46, what the highest is, you can now put range, click range, and say 46 through whatever it is. So here, we just state from 46 through highest, the new value 3, we click on add. Then finally, we click on this system or user missing in telling it, if in the old value there's a system or user missing, in this our new one, still consider it as system missing. And we click on add and click on continue. And we click on OK. So at the background, it will appear like nothing has happened, right? For SPSS. But the only way you know that something has happened is when you now click on the variable view and come down to the last row. You find out now that there's a new group they now call age group. Okay? And you can see the name is there, the age group is there. The only thing that is not here is the values, which you should quickly fill. So here, you say 1 is 18 to 35, and you click add. And 2 is 36 to 45. You click, and then 3 is 46 to 46 and above. And you click add. And you click OK. So you can see because this decimal is there, that's why you are seeing that 1.00. Once I remove it, it goes off. So you just make sure age group, okay? And then when you go here, you'll find out that your age group now has been coded. So once you click on 1, it changes it and reverse back. Once you click on this, it reverses it back. So this is how to recode your variables. Okay. Now, another one I would want to showcase to us this evening is also how to split, okay, well, how to compute a new variable. So at times you may want to add up things. For instance, let's say you want to create BMI, which is height squared, which is weight divided by height squared. So with that, is like you want to do some mathematical operation. So for instance, if you notice those questions that we had, the original questions that we had, you will see that option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 questions that are trying to ask the same question. Like now, let's say you want to create a knowledge score. You've asked people several questions on knowledge about prevention of COVID. So the first question, wearing face mask does not prevent COVID. Answer from strongly agree to disagree. Restricting exposure to blood increases your chances of having COVID. All of those questions, maybe they are knowledge question. COVID is caused by bacteria. All of that, you have already made up your mind to now group them to form a composite score, because all those questions you asked is supposed to measure one thing. Okay, so you want to sum them up and find out their mean value and use it to derive maybe a categorical variable that splits that number. So let's say like question OP1 to OP5, 6, they are all asking the same question. And I think from the questionnaire, that's the question that looks at your total optimism. Okay? So how do you compute the summation of what each individual, their total optimism looks like? Okay? Apart from doing it manually, because you could have done that in Excel. So what you just do is to click on transform, compute variable. Now the target variable is you tell it the name that you want it to be, and remember it has to be in short form. Okay, so now here that you have equals numeric variable, you start adding them one by one and adding the additive or multiplicative sign depending on, or division sign depending on what it is. So I will add up and click plus. I will add the second one and click plus. I will add the third one and click ups. I will add the fourth one and click ups. I will add the fifth one and click up, and then I'll add the sixth one. Okay. Once I'm done with this, of course, there are other options, there are other mathematical options. If you look at this, you find out that there are other mathematical options that you can use, right? So I click on OK. Now, when I click on OK, it may look like nothing has happened until you go to your variable view. Do you see the last? Now it has total optimism. Okay, that's a score. And when you go to the data view and actually go to the last, you can find out, you can see it has added it up nicely. Okay, you can see places that had something missing, it did not add them up. So one thing you can now do is to click on so you can see what you can now do is that from this total summation, you can use it to derive your categorical division into people that maybe have good optimism versus people that have poor optimism, maybe based on other score lines that you have done. Those are further calculations you can do. And of course, you can do this with that function we had done before, which is like recode. So a quick way, if I wanted to do this, for instance, is I will click on analyze. Okay, so let me assume that we want to say that 50%, 50, as anybody that scored 50% of this total optimism score should be considered as having 50% and above as having good optimism. So I click on frequency. I move in the total optimism, okay? And then I click on statistics. What I really am looking out for, assuming I was using 50% score, right? As in people that score 50% of the 50 percentile, okay? Or which is the same thing as a median, okay? But I can click on this 50 percentile, and then I click on continue. I click OK. Now, from what I'm seeing here, the 50 percentile is people that have 18. That means they are the 50 percentile. So what I'll do now is to come back here, click on transform, recode into different variable, okay? Move this out. Click on total up because this is a score, and now from CAT or total click on total ops and click on CAT. And then for the label, I can now go ahead to say total optimism category, okay? And I click on change. I go to old and new value. Now, because I already know that it says 18 down is one group, so I can just say range 18. Okay, and then for the new value, I will click on value and put 1 here. Oh, sorry, I should have stated this. All these other old ones, I have to remove them because they were coming from the old work I had done before. Okay, so I click on range through lowest and I just click on 18 because I'm saying 18 and below should be considered. Oh, no. 18 is a 50th percentile, so it's 18 and above, so I'll put 17.9. And below should be considered as 0. Remember what I said? Use 1 for 1 and 0 when you want to have a dichotomous variable, okay? So this means absence or the negative one, so I put it at. Then I now say range 18 and above, consider them as present, total optimism. And then I click on add. I click on system using and system missing. I click add and I click continue. I click OK. Now, if you go to your variable view, you will find out that so you can see it has now neatly divided for us all these questions, the things into 1 and 0. So when you compare, you can see when the number was 16, it considered says 0, 21, it says is 1. Now you have to go to your variable view, click on the values and tell it that 1 means good optimism, and then 0 means poor. optimism and click add and click OK. And of course, you remove this decimal so that it can give you this, okay? So this is what it is. And if you want to find out how many people are optimistic versus this, you just click on descriptive statistics frequency. This is a categorical variable at this point. So you just click on the total optimism category variable, move it into variables, display frequency tables, and click OK. That's what you need. And this is how the result will look like. Okay. So from here, you can see that 52.4 of the participants had good optimism, as against 47.6% of the respondents that had poor optimism. So at this point, I'm going to stop to ask if there are any questions, and then I would hand over to the admin once more to start wrapping up. Okay, thank you. Hello.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Do you have any question at all? Does anyone have any question at this point? Any question? All right. So if there is none, I want to believe that we all followed the class through, and it was simple, easy to understand and follow. In case you don't have your SPSS software, you can get any institution around you, university, maybe college of education. You can, there'll be shops, computer shops around the school that can.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so thank you very much. Just to say that this was, I know, a TASTER class, but I think we've done quite a lot. One thing about this is that you really need to sit with this. And just like the admin is saying, SPSS software is something that is so easy to get nowadays. If there's any college of training around you, you can get it. Also, you can download the free version. A lot of the information on this we usually put up on the group. So for those that will be interested in joining on the master class, it will be my great pleasure for us to work together and go in details, because that's quite much more extensive than just these one or two classes. So with this, I think for me, I just want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to have the class with you. And thank you very much, and God bless.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So the form to indicate our interest is already in the chat. You can just do it to click on the form and indicate interest if you are interested in going on the masterclass journey, and we'll get across to you. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Okay, Charles, do you want to speak? I can see you're muted. Oh, okay. All right, no problem. No problem. All right, thank you so much. I want to greatly appreciate your presence in tonight's free tester class. Want to say thank you for your time, and we hope to have you in the master class and other trainings, free tester courses that will be coming up from time to time. All right, thank you so much. We'll draw the curtains here tonight and see you some other time. Thank you.
Bless you.